5 U.S. Capitol police officers stood by and let in 300 of the rioters. Not even just let them in. One of the police officers kind of gestured towards the doorway as if he was like waving them in, inviting these guys in. And they just kind of, peacefully walked in. Now, they obviously, a lot of them weren't too peaceful when they got inside, but drink for dramatic effect. In the last couple of weeks, there's been, new reports coming out about January 6th Capitol incursion. And looking back, I remember when we all watched that happen live, and like everyone in the office was just absolutely horrified. It was one of the worst days. Even after the election, Trump lost the election. It was so much worse than that. It was a horrible day, and none of us, at least very few of us, bought into the theories that it was a false flag attack, which was, shortly then proven to be false. And, we all thought, okay, this is a bunch of, Trump supporters that are acting, horribly, and they should be held accountable for this. Yeah. But I don't think any of us were under the belief that this was some sort of armed insurrection where they were trying to take over the Capitol and, take out all the government officials there.
Institute a new government.
This wasn't a group of organized terrorists that was trying to take over the country. But that's what Democrats have been saying ever since then. And, they keep coming out with these commissions and these investigations. They want to find out what happened when really it was just a horrible, horrible protest. And it was bad.
It was a perfect storm.
Yeah,
it was a perfect storm. Yeah.
A very emotional perfect storm.
Yep.
And, comparing it to any one of the riots that happened over 2020 is a little unfair because it is, the Capitol. It's a little different. Yes. But, now as these narratives continue to get propelled forward that this was a terrorist attack, that this was, a coup, we're seeing evidence that, no, this was definitely just a bunch of protesters that got way too rowdy and mob mentality took over. Yep. And, Senator Ron Johnson on Thursday revealed that he and his team had been looking through some security footage that showed the West Terrace doorway, the Upper West Terrace doorway at the Capitol. And what they saw at the time the incursion was happening is that 5 U.S. Capitol police officers stood by and let in 300 of the rioters. Not even just let them in. One of the police officers kind of gestured towards the doorway as if he was like waving them in, inviting these guys in. And they just kind of, peacefully walked in. Now, they obviously, a lot of them weren't too peaceful when they got inside, but drink for dramatic effect. But yeah, so this is not how an insurrection happens. They don't get invited inside by police officers. Once the insurrectionists are inside, they usually don't stay within the rope lines that are supposed to guide people through.
The riots by Disney.
And so, Senator Johnson, his people, they poured over this video, and then they determined about 38% of the people at the incursion were just let in that doorway by police officers. So, there were plenty of people that were scaling walls and breaking through barriers, but there was a huge percentage of them that just kind of walked in, and they were just part of the crowd. And so, clearly, this is not an insurrection. This is as close you can get, as strong of evidence you can get, as this is not an insurrection. It was just a crazy riot that got a little out of hand. Does this new evidence, does it change your guys' opinion about January 6th at all?
It does and it doesn't.
Yeah.
We talked about this earlier. There was a video a couple weeks ago that showed something kind of similar, in which once they were actually in the building, certain rooms were open to them, and certain police officers can be heard saying, show the world who you really are. Don't go in there and destroy things. Just walk through, make your presence known, and leave. And that's unacceptable when you're trying to uphold the law. Like, that's not okay. So yes, it does show me, which I already believed this. The idea that this was some major wide-scale terrorist attack that, a 9/11 level commission could prove something about or discover something about is nonsense. And I was thinking about it right now, like this came to me. It is a continuation of this ridiculous false narrative, an impossible narrative, and an unbelievable narrative that we have heard for the last 4 years, is that Donald Trump is both an evil mastermind and a complete dunce.
Yeah.
And Trump supporters are complete dunces and political mastermind.
Yeah.
You can't have both. It's not possible. This isn't a cartoon. It's not a James Bond film. So this idea that we have a bunch of, idiot rubes from middle America who are also perfectly planning this perfect storm terrorist attack it's foolish. And this is all the evidence you need to show anyone to be like, okay, well, what's this? Why did the police just let them walk right in the door?